Hello students, welcome to Science Teacher. In this session, we are going to discuss about photosynthesis of class 10 biology. Last session, we discussed about nutrition. In that, we discussed about that organisms require energy and certain raw materials for their survival. In that, some organisms synthesize their own food. They are called as autotrophs. Autotrophs are green plants and some bacteria. These are the examples for autotrophs. These autotrophs are further divided into photoautotrophs and chemoautotrophs. Photoautotroph means the organisms which will use sunlight for synthesizing the food. Chemoautotrophs are the organisms which use the energy derived from chemicals, from oxidation of certain chemicals. These organisms are called as chemoautotrophs. Now, there are certain organisms which depend on others for their food. They are called as heterotrophs. Examples are animals and fungi. These heterotrophs are further divided into three categories. They are saprophytes, parasites and holozoic. Saprophytes example is fungi. What they do? They will derive food from the dead and decaying matter. Parasites are the organisms which live in the host body. They will take food from the host body and in turn they will cause diseases to the host body. Now, holozoic nutrition means the nutrition in which solid food is taken inside, then it is digested and absorbed into the body. Then those simpler substances are made use for growth and maintenance of the body. So, this is about the thing that we discussed in the last video. Now, let us learn about photosynthesis. Here we are going to discuss about photosynthesis, then site of photosynthesis and mechanism of photosynthesis. Now let us try to understand what is a photosynthesis. Let us split the word and try to understand. Photo means light and synthesizing means what? Putting together, something is produced. So putting together. So what is put together here? Here the plant will absorb the sunlight and convert that solar energy into chemical energy, and using that energy it will put together carbon dioxide and water to form glucose. This is what is happening in a photosynthesis. So let us discuss about that, how the plant gets carbon dioxide and water for the photosynthesis. These are the raw materials. And what else is required here? Sunlight is required and also chlorophyll, a green colored pigment, is required for the photosynthesis. Now look at the diagram of a plant here. So what happens? Plant has a root which fixes the plant to the soil. Now these roots are able to absorb water and minerals from the soil. Then water and minerals will move through the xylem, which is a tissue, conducting tissue, and it will reach the leaf. Leaf has here you can observe, it has a midrib and veins are present. These veins will carry water to the site of photosynthesis. Now next, how the plant gets carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is present in our atmosphere, that is absorbed. Then these leaves have some pores in that. So through that pore the carbon dioxide will be entering into the leaf. That is how water and carbon dioxide reaches the site of photosynthesis. Now raw materials are already reached. Now what else is required? Chlorophyll is required. That is already present in the leaf. Now sunlight falls on the leaf. The sunlight will be falling on the leaf and the sunlight is captured by the chlorophyll. Then the process takes place. as the end product, glucose is produced here. Now, glucose is the sugar which is also called as a carbohydrate. Let us see the importance of photosynthesis. So, what happens in photosynthesis? The light in the form of photons. Light is also called as photons. Photons are falling on the leaf. This chlorophyll pigment present in the leaf, it will convert this into chemical energy. Then that energy is used for synthesizing sugar. Oxygen is a byproduct of photosynthesis. Here, let us see why it is important. Photosynthesis is a process by which green plants synthesize organic food by using carbon dioxide and water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. So, carbon dioxide is made use here. That is how our atmosphere, our air is getting purified. Carbon dioxide is not useful for us. We need oxygen. Now carbon dioxide is taken by the plant for photosynthesis. What is released here? Oxygen is released. With that, the plants will purify atmospheric air by consuming carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. This is how we get purified air in our atmosphere with the help of the plants by the process of photosynthesis. So what is this photosynthesis? It is an anabolic process. We already discussed about metabolic activities. In that I discussed about catabolic activity and anabolic activity. What is catabolic activity? That is destructive. Respiration is the example. Breaking down of glucose to form carbon dioxide, water and energy. Here in photosynthesis, the reversal of respiration takes place. What is that? The carbon dioxide and water are put together to form glucose. So it is a synthesizing process. So photosynthesis is an anabolic process in nature for providing food to living organisms. We already know we can't prepare the food. Heterotrophs or the animals cannot prepare food. All the animals living on this planet are directly or indirectly they are dependent on the plants. That is why plants are called as producers. Without producers we cannot live. All the heterotrophs are dependent on the producers for their energy source. Now let us learn about the site of photosynthesis. So we already know leaf is the site of photosynthesis. In junior classes you learnt about the leaf is the kitchen of the plant. So look at the structure of the leaf. On the adaxial surface you can see, that means the upper surface, you can see the midrib, then a flat surface that is called as a lamina, and there are veins. Now on the abaxial surface, that is on the lower surface of the leaf, you can see the veins and midrib clearly. This is the vein and these are the venules. This main vein is called as a midrib and this is the petiole of the leaf. Petiole of the leaf. Now this leaf looks green. What is the reason for leaf looking green? That is because of a green colored pigment called as chlorophyll. Where the chlorophyll is present? It is present in the chloroplast. Now where the chloroplast is present? It is present in the mesophyll cells. For that we have to take a cross section of a leaf. Like this, the leaf is cut. Now after cutting the leaf, we can see the structure like this. Here, this region you can observe vascular bundles, that is xylem and phloem. Xylem for transporting water and minerals. Water and minerals are transported through xylem, and phloem, what it transport? It will be transporting food. Now other part of the leaf, if you observe or zoom it, then you can observe these all structures in the leaf. Upper surface you can see thin layer of cells called as the upper epidermis. Over the upper epidermis, you can see a thick layer of a cuticle that will not allow the water to be absorbed into the leaf. So water will not decay. Sorry, the leaf will not decay. Now, below the upper epidermis, you can see some layer of cells. These cells are called as mesophyll cells. Now, what do you mean by mesophyll? Meso means middle and fill means leaf. So, middle part of the leaf, that is called as a mesophyll cell. There are two types of mesophyll cells. One is a palisade cell. This cell is called as a palisade parenchymatic cell, and the cells which are loosely packed with the air space in between, that are called as spongy parenchymatous cells. These two cells are belonging to mesophyll cells. In them we can see the round structures called as a chloroplast. What is chloroplast? It is a plastid which is having green colored pigment called as chlorophyll. Now, after that mesophyll cells, you can see one more layer of epidermal cells called as lower epidermis. In that you can see certain gaps. It is not continuous. These gaps are called as stomatal pores. So, they are called as stomata. That is the pores, small pores observed on the lower surface of the leaf are called as stomatal pores. These pores, opening and closing of these pores are controlled by certain bean-shaped cells called as guard cells. We will discuss that in detail. Now look at this structure. Now when you observe this structure, you can understand that there is a pair of bean-shaped cells near the stomatal pore. Those cells are called as guard cells. Now look at these mesophyll cells. Mesophyll cells are having a large vacuole in the center, and in the periphery of the cell you can observe a green colored dots. What are they? They are called as a chloroplast. Now, what is the use of these chloroplasts? They will be helping in capturing the sunlight. Maximum absorption of sunlight takes place in this palisade parenchymatous cells. So, the light energy will be converted into chemical energy with the help of the pigment called as chlorophyll. Now, as a byproduct of photosynthesis, oxygen is released, and for the photosynthesis we require carbon dioxide. So gaseous exchange have to take place in this site of photosynthesis. For that there should be some space allowing the movement of gases. That space is provided by the arrangement of spongy cells of a mesophyll cell. Here you can observe some more air spaces are there. Through those air spaces, the movement of gases will be easy. Next, let us discuss about the site of photosynthesis. I already told you leaf is the site of photosynthesis. Particularly, we can say chloroplast is the site where photosynthesis occurs. Now, look at the structure of the chloroplast. This is the chloroplast. Now, here you can see it is a double layered membrane. In between, you have an intermembrane space. Outer membrane is there, inner membrane is there, and in between we have an intermembrane space is there. Now, inside we have a aqueous fluid called as a stroma. This aqueous fluid, I am indicating with that dots. These dots we are representing for a aqueous fluid. Fluid means what? The thing which can flow. So this is watery fluid. It can flow. That constitutes the stroma. Now in the stroma we can see some coin-like structures piled one on the another. Now what are these structures called? One coin like structure is called as a thylakoid. Many coins are arranged in a pile, that is called as a granum. Now many such piles together are called as a grana. Grana means a plural, singular is granum. So one coin is called as a thylakoid. Many coins stocked together, that is called as granum, and many granum together is called as a grana. Now this photosynthesis takes place in two steps. One is called as light reaction, another one is a dark reaction. What do you mean by light reaction? Light reaction means light dependent reaction. It requires light for its functioning. Now dark reaction means it do not require light, but it requires the products which are formed in the light reaction. Now light reaction will be occurring in this thylakoid or the grana. We can write it as a grana. In grana light reaction occurs. So how to remember that? So remember, you have to remember like Lg. Lg means a light reaction occurs in a grana. Now dark reaction will be occurring in a stroma. So ds, Lg, ds. You can remember easily Lg. Light reaction takes place in grana of a chloroplast present in the mesophyll cells of a leaf. Now dark reaction will be taking place in the stroma. So ds, Lg, ds. Next, what happens in light reaction? Light reaction is also called as light dependent reaction. Chloroplast is having a chlorophyll in it. Chlorophyll. So this chlorophyll becomes the reaction center for the absorption of a light. So sunlight will be falling in the form of photons on the reaction center called as a chlorophyll. So from the chlorophyll some electrons will be excited. These electrons are having energy. That energy is used for further reaction, that is production of ATP and NADPH. Now what is this? This is the reducing power. This is having more energy in it. ATP, you know, that is the energy currency. So here chlorophyll will be absorbing the light from the sunlight, and then that energy is allowing the electron to escape. That electron, when it travels to series of certain substances, it will release the energy. That energy is used for synthesizing ATP and a reducing power called as NADPH. So during this, this chlorophyll is continuously losing electron. So electron is supplied to the chlorophyll by splitting water molecule. Water molecule is split into 4 hydrogen ions and 4 electrons, and 1 oxygen is released. This oxygen is released in the photosynthesis as a byproduct. You have to remember. Now water will be supplying electron continuously for a chlorophyll, that is the reaction center. That happens in a light reaction. So what is the reaction happening in light reaction? The processes taking place in light reaction is that first sunlight is absorbed by the chlorophyll, then it will convert the light energy into chemical energy, then splitting of water molecule to hydrogen and oxygen takes place in a light reaction, and as a result of a light reaction ATP and NADPH are formed. Now in dark reaction what happens? In dark reaction you can see that in the dark reaction we can observe there is a fixation of carbon. So carbon is fixed. So carbon dioxide will be reduced. What is happening in dark reaction? Carbon dioxide will be reducing to carbohydrate. So this is happening in a dark reaction, dark phase of the photosynthesis. In the dark reaction, we can observe carbon dioxide will be reduced to form a carbohydrate. Now what is the reaction full equation we have to write here? What is the equation? Equation goes like this: carbon dioxide plus water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. What is formed here? Carbohydrate, which is the glucose molecule C6H12O6. Then some amount of water is formed here and oxygen is released into the atmosphere. How to balance this? See, 6 carbon in the product side, so on the reactant side also you have to write 6. So 6 CO2 plus 12 H2O forms 6 H2O and 6 O2. Let us see whether it is balanced or not. See, hydrogen is 12 here and here also 12. 12 plus 12 is 24 hydrogen on the product side and 24 hydrogen on the reactant side. Oxygen how many? 12 plus 12, 24 oxygen, also 24 atoms. So here 6, 12 plus 12, 24. So 24 oxygen on the product side also. It is balanced now. 6 molecules of carbon dioxide combined with the 12 molecules of water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll to form 1 molecule of glucose and 6 molecules of water and 6 molecules of oxygen are released into the atmosphere. This is the briefing of a photosynthesis. So what we learned now? We learned that photosynthesis has a 2 phases, which are the light reaction and dark reaction. What happens in light reaction? In light reaction, light is absorbed by the chlorophyll, then the light energy, solar energy is converted into chemical energy, then water molecule is split into hydrogen and oxygen, and ATP and NADPH are formed. Now in a dark reaction, what happens? The carbon dioxide is reduced to form carbohydrate using the ATP and NADPH which are formed in the light reaction. This is how the photosynthesis takes place. Remember again, the light reaction takes place in the grana and the dark reaction takes place in the stroma. So here again, dark reaction means what? Light independent reaction and uses ATP and NADPH for the fixation of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is reduced to carbohydrate or the glucose. Now next we are understanding about the 3 steps. Just now I told you the 3 steps which are there in light reaction. What is done? The chlorophyll is capturing the light and it is converting that light into chemical energy. Then solar energy is converted into chemical energy and splitting of water molecule to form hydrogen and oxygen. Carbon dioxide is reduced to form carbohydrates. These are the 3 events taking place in a photosynthesis. For exam, it will be asked for 2 marks, that is, write the 3 events taking place in photosynthesis. Which are they? One is a light energy is absorbed by chlorophyll, solar energy is converted into chemical energy and splitting of water molecule to form hydrogen and oxygen, then carbon dioxide reduced to form carbohydrate. Now let us learn about the opening and closing mechanism of a stomata. I already told you about the gaseous exchange, how the gases are exchanged through the stomatal pore. What happens in the stomatal pore? Oxygen will be released into the atmosphere and carbon dioxide is taken inside. So how this takes? What is the arrangement in the stomatal pore to open and close it? So the opening and closing of stomatal pore, this is the stomatal pore. So this is the stomatal pore. And these are the guard cells, and these dots, green color dots, they are the chloroplasts. chloroplast. Now what happens here in the guard cell? See, two bean-shaped cells. I already told you these two bean-shaped cells are called as the guard cells. These cells will control the opening and closing of the stomata. Where these stomata are observed, they are seen on the lower surface of the leaf. Now here this inner side of the guard cell, it is very thick. You can observe here it is very thick. Outer surface is a thin. Now these guard cells are having chloroplast in it. These chloroplast will undergo photosynthesis. Now after photosynthesis, what is formed? Sugar is formed, that is a glucose is formed. This glucose is soluble in water. Soluble in water. Now what happens? The water inside the guard cell, it will be concentrated. Means more ions in it. Now due to osmosis from the neighboring cells, there are some cells neighboring the guard cell. From these cells, water will be moving inside the guard cell due to osmosis. When the water moves inside, these guard cells will swell up. Why it is swelling up? Because the outer surface is very thin. It will bulge out. It will just grab this inner surface. So what happens? There will one gap appearing on the inner surface. This gap is the stomatal pore. That is how stomatal pore opens. Now next, after some time, glucose will be converted into starch. This starch is insoluble in water. So what happens to the concentration of the cell? Concentration of the guard cell will be decreasing. Now water will move outside the guard cell. As a result, the guard cell will be shrinking in size. So the shrunken guard cell will be making the pore to close. So you can understand now how the opening and closing of stomata are controlled by the guard cell. When the water moves inside the guard cell swells up and the stomatal pore opens. When the water moves outside the guard cell will shrink and the stomatal pore closes. This is the mechanism of opening and closing of a stomatal pore. Now next, you have to understand, you can observe in this animated picture, you can understand how the guard cell will be controlling the opening and closing of a stomata. Here you see oxygen will be moving out, water will be moving out, and then what is coming inside? Carbon dioxide is taken inside. See, whenever there is a turgor pressure means what? Whenever there is more water in the cell, it will make the cell to bulge out. Then the water will apply some pressure on the wall of the cell. That is the turgor pressure. This turgor pressure makes the guard cell to open the stomatal pore. Then carbon dioxide will enter into the stomata. Then water will be lost in the form of water vapor. That process is called as a transpiration. What is transpiration? Transpiration means loss of water in the form of water vapor. Now next we have to understand the activity 6.1 which is given in the textbook, NCERT textbook. You can see this, that is to demonstrate the necessity of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is essential for photosynthesis. This we are demonstrating with the help of activity 6.1. So what you have to take? You have to take a potted plant with variegated leaves. What do you mean by variegated leaves? The leaves which are having both the colors, that is green and other color. So for example, croton leaf. you will see some green color and yellow color, red color, you can see in that. So green colored patches means a chlorophyll is there, and other side, other colored side, it is not having chlorophyll in it. So croton leaf you can take, keep the plant in a dark room for 3 days. What you have to do, you have to keep the plant in dark room for 3 days, so that all the starch which is already present in the leaf will be used up. Next, you will keep the plant in sunlight for about 6 hours. Now pluck a leaf from the plant and mark the green areas. First you need to mark those green areas with a marker. Then you will dip the leaf in boiling water for a few minutes. Then washed leaf will be immersed in a beaker containing alcohol. Then that beaker containing alcohol will be kept in a tub which is having boiling water. So we are boiling that alcohol. So in the boiling alcohol, the leaf will be immersed. After some time, the leaf becomes colorless. Why it becomes colorless? Due to the presence of alcohol, the chlorophyll has been removed from the leaf. Now dip the leaf in a iodine solution for a starch test. We are with the iodine test, what we are finding out whether starch is present or not. Then after few minutes we have to take the leaf outside the iodine solution. Then we have to wash all the excess solution from the leaf. Now you will observe the color of the leaf. How it looks like. Somewhere you can see blue colored patches. Other side you can see only plain leaf. Now why these patches appeared? In presence of starch, the iodine will be converting these places into blue-black color. Iodine gets converted into blue-black color in presence of starch. This blue-black color indicates the presence of starch. Why starch is present only in these areas? You can see before boiling the leaf, you can see here green color. What is that? Chlorophyll is present there. So you can understand starch is present only in the areas wherever chlorophyll was present. So what you can conclude now, chlorophyll is essential for photosynthesis. Next, you have to see the activity 6.2. This is to demonstrate that carbon dioxide is essential for photosynthesis. So what is essential for photosynthesis? Carbon dioxide is essential for photosynthesis. We already learnt raw material for photosynthesis are carbon dioxide, water, then the sunlight and the chlorophyll. These are very much essential for photosynthesis. If any one thing is missing, photosynthesis will not occur. You have to remember. Now we will see how in the absence of carbon dioxide, plant is not able to perform the photosynthesis. Let us see that. What you have to do, you have to take 2 potted plants, you have to take. Then you will keep them in the dark room for 3 days. Why you are keeping them in the dark room? So that the starch which is already produced, it will be consumed by the plant. Now you have to cover the potted plants with a bell jar. Now next, you will keep inside the bell jar along with the potted plant. One potted plant you will keep a watch glass containing potassium hydroxide. Another potted plant is kept in the bell jar alone. Now in the potted plant A, you can observe that after some time the plant will become, all the leaves will be wilted, and after few days the plant is it will be dying after few days. Now what is the reason for this? See, when we keep the bell jar, you can see that the carbon dioxide is already present there. But that carbon dioxide is used up by the potassium hydroxide. So there is no carbon dioxide available for the potted plant A. Whereas potted plant B already got the carbon dioxide, it is already present inside the bell jar. It is made available. to the plant. Plant undergoes photosynthesis. So you can see here the fact that carbon dioxide is essential for photosynthesis. Now with the two activities you can understand that sunlight also is essential. Without sunlight the photosynthesis will not take place. What about water? If you keep the plant for 2 days without watering, what will happen? The leaves will wilt. Then after 2 more days the plant will die. So water also very much essential. So what are the things essential for photosynthesis? Carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll. So now we already understood how the plants get raw materials for photosynthesis. Which are the raw materials? Water and carbon dioxide. Water, the leaves will be absorbing the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through the stomata, whereas the roots of the plant, it will absorb water and minerals from the soil. Now what about other minerals here? Nitrogen, phosphorus, iron and magnesium. These phosphorus, iron and magnesium are supplied from the soil, whereas nitrogen is absorbed in the form of nitrates or nitrites. Or sometimes there are certain bacteria present in the soil. Nitrogen fixing bacteria. Which bacteria? Nitrogen fixing bacteria which are present in the soil. They will supply the nitrogen to the soil. That nitrogen will be absorbed by the plant. So from the soil, the plant will be absorbing nitrogen in the form of nitrates and nitrites. That is how the plant gets the raw materials for photosynthesis. For photosynthesis, raw materials required are water, carbon dioxide, and essential requirements are sunlight and chlorophyll. Other requirements like nitrogen. Nitrogen, why nitrogen is important? It is important for the synthesis of protein. And phosphorus, iron and magnesium. Magnesium is an essential element in the chlorophyll. So if the chlorophyll has to be active, then magnesium is very important. Iron and phosphorus are the essential elements required by the plant. Now we finished the photosynthesis. Now I hope you all understood the process of photosynthesis. Please revise this topic again and again so that you are thorough with the topic.